So the first step you need to do in order to use barcodes is to put stickers on all of your existing inventory. So if you've already activated your barcodes functionality, then the first step is to take all of the items that you have in inventory that don't have barcode labels on them and make those barcode labels. So how do you do it? You need to export your barcode data from your Katana account, and there's two ways to do it. You can either export an Excel or CSV file, or you can export a printed PDF file. So we'll get into some of the details related to that. So as a starting point, barcodes that you would typically print out would include your internal barcodes and batch barcodes if you are using batch tracking. This means that maybe you already have some pre-existing stock that's batch trackable, but it's not currently labeled yet with respect to barcodes. And you would also use it for registered barcodes in case you are using registered barcodes for the products you sell. It's less commonly used for supplier barcodes, except in certain extenuating circumstances. So first workflow is how do we print out and what ways can we print out our barcodes to label our existing inventory in order to adopt the barcodes functionality across our organization. Okay, so let's get started. First, I want to talk about where you get that information. It would be on the stock screen. So the stock screen contains your barcode data. This would include your registered barcodes for every item that has one, internal barcodes, which if you've activated internal barcodes either through automatic generation or you've uploaded them from the Excel imports, they will be available in this column. And then supplier item codes, those again will not typically be needed to be printed, but in case you do, they're also available here. Now, first way you can do this is go to the export option in the top right, and then you have the choice between an Excel file and a CSV. You might ask, what's the difference between the two and why would I need one over the other? Excel file, it's more easy to use because if you can work inside of Excel, then it's more readable. You don't have to do any conversions. CSV works great if you've got a really high volume of items in your inventory. We're talking like in excess of 20,000. Now, let's go ahead and export one and I'll show you what it looks like. So it'll show up here in the section below where you can then download it. And once it's downloaded, I'll minimize here and then we can see what it looks like. So yeah, really simple. It provides your product SKUs and item SKUs, item names, and also supplier item codes plus internal barcodes. And you'll have the internal barcodes available right here, for example. So the first question that might come to mind is how are you going to use this Excel file for printing your barcodes to make labels on the items in inventory? And it's quite simple. You can take this file and upload it into a special program. Maybe if you're using some sort of merging documentation to merge it into a template. If you have a laser printer or an inkjet printer in your office and you need to print out labels onto a dedicated template sheet that has stickers, you can put these labels through a program which will create the barcodes for you, and print it out on those sheets so that way it fits toward your situation. Alternatively, you can take this file and send it off somewhere to, let's say, a third-party printing, barcode printing company, and put a quantity associated with each one of these items. This is especially useful if you've got a high quantity of items in your inventory that you need to label. So let's say, for example, this item, if I've got 2,000 units that need a sticker on them, but I can't seem to do that, then in this case, what would be easier to do is to get 4 rolls of 500 labels directly from a third-party provider if you need thousands and thousands of labels. Printing these manually in your office would take many hours and is probably not worth the time spent. So if you've got a high volume of items that need labeled, then I recommend going a third-party printing route as opposed to printing them in your own office. But if you're printing them in your own office, then it's okay to do it this way. So that would be one of the first and easiest things that you can do. I'm going to show you how to actually use the Avery website, for example, to accomplish exactly what I just mentioned. But before I do that, I'm going to introduce you to the printable PDF template files that come from Katana. Now, this is a little bit different, and what I mostly want to focus on is the importance of Excel and CSVs at the beginning of your barcode usage journey, because those will come in handy in the beginning. But what's really important is the continued use of barcodes as you are working with Katana. And being able to print them quickly, so let's say as items are being manufactured and you need to create labels for them, or as materials are being received and you need to create labels for them on the fly, those will become very important with respect to printable PDFs. Now, printable PDFs are an option available on the stock screen when you select multiples of any item and go to the bulk actions and print. What is this going to do? It's going to give you an option to choose a print template. Katana has a predefined print template for barcode labels. This is a label that has a measurement of, I believe, 5.5 by 6 centimeters, or that would be 2 1/8 inch by about 2.5 inch. And this is just a standard size label that you would find on one of those automatic label printing machines, which I demonstrated earlier in another video. But I'll show you what it looks like. So when you choose this option and it selects barcode label, you'll get an option for 3 stickers. Now, one of the disadvantages to printing these out on the stock screen is it only makes 1 label per item. Now, if you've got 10 units in stock that need labels, then you'll need to have 10 items printable. Now, if you intend on doing that, you'll have to work on it a little bit differently by one at a time. So let's say you would choose 1, choose print, but if you need 10 labels, for example, once you go to the print icon here, you'll need to choose how many copies that you need, and you should select multiples. So when your printing options give you how many would you need, you would select 10, and then it will just print out 10 labels. It's basically 1 page per label. So you can also get more creative if you need a number of pages per sheet. So if the item is really small, like in our case with these, you can do up to 16 of those per page to make them really tiny. So there are other options that you can think about using. It gets really tricky to show you the best use case because every company has a slightly different requirement. You might also be asking, well, what exactly is this barcode label that we're talking about when it comes to PDF printouts and templates? Well, what we have by default in Katana is a barcode label printout. We won't go into the details of what is Katana's PDF template editor, but what's really important about it is once you decide what your standard barcode label is going to be in terms of size-wise and how it's going to, which one you're actually going to wind up using, you'll need to create a custom PDF template that supports that specific size label. This way, it will be made available across all of the workflows in your organization that uses barcodes. And as a quick intro to it, because you're going to see more of this in the future, under the print templates section, you will find the different types of documents that Katana generates. We generate quotes, sales orders, manufacturing orders, pick lists, task lists, purchase order templates, outsourced purchase order templates, stock adjustment, stock transfer, stock takes, and batch tracking related documents. And on the majority of the documents that Katana generates that have to do with barcode usage, we will have the barcode label available for. So for example, barcode label is available on these specific items: sales orders, manufacturing orders, purchase orders, outsource purchase orders, stock adjustments, stock transfers, as well as batch tracking. And whenever you're looking at what they look like, you can, for example, generate a duplicate version of them, and then it will take you into the barcode template editor. So this is where you would need to go to when you eventually decide on what will be the format of your barcodes. And basically what it is there's a series of fields that capture information like the material or product name plus the SKU found here. And then you'll have the barcode that's generated using whatever the number it is, then it will make this barcode visible here. The batch ID, as well as the expiration date. So all of those fields are available on the standard barcodes that are supplied in Katana's case. So we'll exit that for the time being and look more into the additional areas. But this will become more important because basically what this is stating is that anytime you plan on printing from one of those document types, you can print onto the barcode label that Katana's already provided. And we're going to cover those in more detail when we start talking about the workflows and how to use barcodes in workflows. So first things first, once you've done that, you're pretty good to go. Print them out through that process. The other section that I want to show you when it comes to labeling your inventory for the very first time is from the batches screen. So if you are using batch tracking for your items in inventory, you need to build out the barcode labels for those items as well. It works exactly the same as it does on the stock screen for the items, but the difference here will be, let's say that I would print one of these out. You're going to see the difference is that this specific barcode will not be for the internal barcode. It will be for the batch barcode. And you need to label these because they support your workflows. So if you've got, let's say, green coffee beans that you use as a material that's batch trackable in inventory, and you have a dedicated batch number, which in this case is beans 1, this is the barcode label for that batch. So any moment that you would consume that ingredient, let's say in a manufacturing process like roasting coffee, you'll need to scan the barcode so it deducts from the correct inventory batch whenever you're using it on the shop floor. So this barcode is supporting that functionality when it comes to those manufacturing processes, even in the shop floor app. We'll cover that workflow as well to show you how that works in that situation. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to take that export and upload it into a website to generate an output file that can be printed using the dedicated sheets that you would have stickers on in order to sticker your inventory through an inkjet or laserjet printer.